right. Bang, bang. Week 12 is here. Thanksgiving week. Nobody has a bye this week. The games are spread out, but we have a huge slate coming up on Sunday. So we're going to break this down for you. Just to highlight a couple of the games that we're targeting early on here. The Chiefs and the Bucks. Got the Chargers and the Bills. Oh man, Justin Herbert and Josh Allen. That's gonna be fun. The Raiders and Falcons. Got the Cardinals and Patriots. It's gonna be fun. And I don't know, Patty Mahomes has been on fire lately. Price and Dustin, welcome to the NFL show. What any initial thoughts before we start breaking down the quarterbacks in the slate?
Some juicy QBs this week. You got all the top guys for the most part. The Josh Allens, Kyler Murray, Mahomes, Herbert. See if Tom Brady can get back on track this week. But it's exciting. There's a lot of plays. You got Taysom Hill there at 6,200. Intriguing play again, just because of what he can get done with his legs, as we saw him run for 2 touchdowns last week. So it's going to make for an interesting Sunday. A lot of variability this week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm ready. The first game you touched on, Herbert against Josh Allen, just looks so fun to play. Yeah. We talking beforehand. Herbert's like the QB2 in the last 2 months. Allen was the QB1 for the first month. So you got these two guys who obviously can ball out. And they moved the Steelers-Ravens games to it. So if you want to take that plunge to Lamar like Chris talks about every week, you have the option to go ahead and lose some money with Lamar Jackson.
No, he's dead to me. Like Duke Johnson is dead to Price. I really love this Chiefs Bucks game. Love stacking. The Chiefs are expensive stack, but get yourself a tight end, Tyreek Hill, and then run it back with Antonio Brown is getting tons of targets. So that's kind of where I'm going to start with Patrick Mahomes. He is on DraftKings 8,000. So just below Kyler Murray, but that's the first quarterback that I like. And obviously, you got the showdown between Herbert and Josh Allen. Herbert, Price, I think you said he was quarterback number 2 since week 3. Is that since he started?
Yep.
Herbert's just a machine, which is fun. Anybody low though? I know up top there's so many great options. Is there anybody that's off the radar you think would be worth a shot? Like Daniel Jones versus the Bengals defense. He also has some running upside at 5,500. I think that's interesting, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, I was going to say Daniel Jones against the Bengals. Just caught my eye.
Hold on. Who are the Falcons playing?
I do. Looking at the car is 5,700, and I don't think anybody in the world is going to go to Matt Ryan after the complete dud he laid last week. And I think that could be a fantastic play this week. His last time he laid a dud, his next game out was his best week of the year. And now we get him. As long as Ridley and Julio are healthy, the Raiders defense is trash. So you get them two. Like that could be a nice little stack. We might talk about it on our next video. But love a little low on Matt Ryan, Derek Carr. I mean, Dustin talked about him a couple of weeks ago where he's just value every time out except one bad week. There's really no one much cheaper than Daniel Jones I would look at. I mean, not going to touch Mike Glennon at 4,600. He's garbage, and he's going to get destroyed. Ryan Finley for the Bengals was god-awful. Oh, no, actually, I think they're going to do Brandon Allen instead, so he might be even worse. I believe he's the Arkansas boy. There's some really bad quarterback plays this week.
So
it's going to be hard not to use the top end.
So here's one for you. How would you like to be Cleveland's front office? Look on DK and see PJ Walker is more expensive than Baker Mayfield.
For a good reason.
making his second start. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. You see Baker down there below, Daniel Jones, PJ Walker, Derek Carr. I mean, just it's not what you would have thought early in the year, but I think Cleveland's going to beat the crap out of Jacksonville. I just don't think it'll be via Baker. But yeah, I'm with you, Price. You kind of stole my guy, my low end guy, Derek Carr. He's played, like you said, really well all year. Like you said, he had one bad game, and it was 2 weeks ago against Denver. But that's kind of because their running game was monstrous, more so than him. But outside of that, he's returned almost 3x plus every week. And we saw him obviously in the prime time against Mahomes, and he did pretty much everything he could to win the game. 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I like him down there. Daniel Jones obviously is always viable, but I kind of don't like the middle range too much. Besides, Taysom Hill. But besides that, I'll probably go either top end guys or some of those guys we touched on just now. So it's kind of where I'm at for QB. I think intriguing too. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just think it's gonna be hard to go off those top end guys on single entries. But if I am, the Derek Carr, Daniel Jones are the two low end plays, and my 3 max lineups, I'm gonna have one of those low end guys. Now it's a toss up right now. Derek Carr, I mean, going against the Falcons and their defense, their corners, Kendall Sheffield and Isaiah Oliver, are just horrible. They're trash. So it's hard not paying 200 more for Derek Carr, but I love Daniel Jones's running upside there and ceiling. So let's get on to the running backs. Dustin, start us up with some running backs. Who do you like here?
I mean, D Cook at 9,500. And then you look at his average and you realize, okay, he's worth 9,500. And he's in a freaking smash spot against Carolina. So, he obviously gets tons of volume, both running and passing. So, I like Dalvin Cook more so in a cash game just because of his price point. But, I think he could easily, hit 30 plus points in 3x. So not really sure on Kamara. I know he's a little banged up still, but he's 8,200, dropped down obviously in price. He just wasn't utilized like he was with Breeze last week. And I like to take him one game and kind of saying, okay, this is how it's going to happen every week. But until I see otherwise, I'll tentatively not play him probably. Because he doesn't get the volume in the running game as a typical RB1 would. His prowess obviously is in the passing game. And offhanded, let me go look here. He had 1 target last week. So, yeah, until I see different, I'll probably not play him. I like Nick Chubb, kind of touched on it earlier. Obviously the Browns defense should eat, and Cleveland should be just running the ball rampant all over Jacksonville. Moving down, I kind of like Damian Harris if Sony Michel doesn't play. I know he was healthy, and then they ended up not playing him last week. But I just think New England's going to run the ball all over Arizona. The thing with Harris is he doesn't get any passes. So if anybody's eating into his pound away yards, then I probably won't go after him. But and then you go down, you get a lot of value guys here. You got P. Ryan for Cincinnati with Gio popping up with a concussion. You obviously have Ahmad there in Miami. Kenyon Drake's back for Chris to take. And so, yeah, I mean, sure. Gallman down there at 5,000. I'll let y'all touch on some of those. But for me, I'll probably play a lot of Chubb and then kind of figure out my other running back from there.
Yeah, I think the top end guy, a couple top end guys you mentioned there are definitely the wave. But two low end guys, you briefly touched on Wayne Gallman. He has a great matchup versus the Bengals. So if I'm not going to use Daniel Jones, I'm going to be looking at targeting Wayne Gallman. He's at the price we want, 5K on DraftKings. Now the Bungles are 31st in yards per carried allowed, 29th in rushing yards allowed per game, and 26th in run defense. 26th. So it all aligns. He's also had 36 touches in the last 2 games. They're coming off a bye. We can hope that they're going to build off that. Wayne Gallman, watching the games, it looks like he has that little Clemson spark in him. So I think he's a really good cheap play. And the other one I'm keeping an eye on, the running back for the Chargers, Balaj. I don't know with Eckler. Is Eckler going to play this week, or is he still 1 week out?
He practiced, but
he's not going to play this week.
I don't think he's going to play. Yeah.
Okay, so he's not averaging 36 touches like Gallman, but he's averaging 23, 24 touches, 6 catches over the last 2 weeks. So he's someone that I'm looking at targeting if Eckler is out. Because I want some exposure to this Chargers and Bills game. I want major exposure to it. So those are the 2 low-end guys. What about you, Price?
Y'all touched on every single person I like. I will say Gaskin is back at practice with a non-contact jersey on. So we might be done with Salvon Ahmed. I don't know how the coaching staff's going to treat that, but Gallman is my favorite cheap play at 5,000 and P. Ryan if Gio does miss. I mean, he was fairly proficient at Oklahoma. He has a knack for finding the end zone, and just we want volume, and he should get it. Chubb is by far the best play on the slate for running back, I think.
Yeah. So what about your boy Price? You made a ton of money on a showdown with James Robinson. So they're playing the Browns. The Browns passing attack is not that great. I don't think the Jags are going to be completely blown out in this game to where they're going to pass the ball all the time. But even then, Chris Thompson's hurt, right? Isn't he hurt?
Yeah, they put him on the IR.
Yeah. So he should get some passing game action. There's not that many running backs in the NFL that get 20 touches a game. So he's a 20-touch guy. What's his price? 6'3" on DraftKings, 7'4" on FanDuel. So 6'3" is not a bad price. What do you think? Thoughts on James Robinson?
I think if I'm going to attack this slate, I would probably want to look at going Nick Chubb, James Robinson, and then Balaj would be my top 3 with maybe a Gallman. But he was going to be one of the next people I touched on because I kind of played around with builds leading up to it. I usually don't build until Saturday, but I just wanted to see kind of wherever it was priced. And him at 6,300 against the Browns just kind of popped off to me, especially with, them no longer starting Luton. So they're going to rely on him even more. He's been phenomenal. He just cracked, I believe, 1,000 yards from scrimmage. So he's been a beast. And to get someone like him, he's going to get all the touches. It's hard to not plug and play that in the lineups, especially if you're not going to go, in too big of the MME, just like a 1 to 3 build mat setting. He has to be in consideration to be a lock in lineups, I think.
I completely skipped over my boy too. Derrick Henry. I know nobody touched on him yet, but going up against Indianapolis, they played them week 10, 19 for 103. They trailed most of the game. Otherwise he's probably getting in the 22 to 25 touch range. So popped off for 5.4, just didn't have any touchdowns. So he went 1.9x, but I kind of feel like, he scores one touchdown there. He pays off. So Derrick Henry obviously has been running the ball pretty well, back-to-back 100-yard games. And, probably will be lower owned because people see Indianapolis and they think, good defense, because they have a pretty good defense. But, Derrick Henry is one of those freaks that it doesn't really matter. And Tennessee wants to run the ball. They've kind of seen what happens when they don't. Tannehill hasn't been as good as he was last year. So I think they try to rely on that and pound away this week. So, I think he's a viable option at 7,900.
All right, let's move on to the wide receivers. I like some of these cheaper running backs, so I'm going to start up top with playing some more expensive guys. Now, I touched on one of my stacks that I'm looking really, really digging deep into with it might be obvious, the Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and then Kelsey, who's just getting all the targets. But so Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen up top and Diggs are the top three receivers that I'm looking to target. Man, what about price down? When you get past those three, is there anybody else up top that you think, like, do you want to play D Hop? Or I just feel like Tyreek, Diggs, and Allen are the top three.
So the one thing that jumped off the charts from last week was Michael Thomas had a 51% target share with Taysom Hill at quarterback. That is insane target share. I don't know if I'll go to Taysom. I think it could be a fun little play because I don't think he'll be as popular, which means in turn Michael Thomas won't be very popular. But I talked about how I loved Matt Ryan. I think as long as there's no setbacks with Ridley's foot or Julio's hamstring, those two, I don't see how I'm not going to plug them into my lineups. I mean, if you go and look at their individual matchups, they're phenomenal this week. Julio has the best matchup again, and Calvin has the fourth best. Like, that's just, they should just destroy the Raiders defense. And Ridley at 7,100, I don't think he's going to be very popular. And I think he has, I would say, the same upside as Tyreek or Hopkins, because obviously we've seen them just completely go bananas. But, I mean, I could see Ridley with a 9-catch, 130 yards and a touchdown, if not 2 touchdown kind of game. And I think him being 7,100 is going to be super low owned, and he could really pop off.
Yeah. I love Julio's price, 65. It is risky, though. I mean, he's had 3 games now with 4 receptions or less. He's been getting hurt. But that price tag is mighty attractive.
Yeah, so is Justin Jefferson.
Because isn't Thielen in
Thielen's
COVID
out.
protocol? He's out, right, with COVID?
He got too many great catches, so Carolina injected him with it. Got to get him out of this game.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say Julio, to touch on him a little bit, his 3 bad games have all been injury related.
Yeah.
But it's a hamstring, man. It's like, and he's a game time decision, so he might not even play, but I ain't going there. No, thank you.
We've been burned. We've been burned by the old Julio.
That'll be definitely a GPP only, and I'm not going to do it in my main lineup, but there's just such high upside, and those 2 guys who are hurt and have burned people off and on all year, I think the upside is there. If you're going to, I want to make 20 lineups, it's worth it to double stack them in 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I don't know how much Carolina's going to be able to stop Cook and how much they're going to throw the ball, but obviously if they do, it's going to JJ there. I like Robbie Anderson this week. I think because they're going to be trailing, that the run game hasn't really been there the past couple weeks. Mike Davis has been a little bit pedestrian. I know he had the touchdown last game, but his yards per carry have been terrible. And they have DJ Moore actually costing more, 6,200 to Robbie's 6,100. But Robbie's getting 27% target share. got 9 targets last week. So I mean, I just think he's in a good spot to pop off, and the volume's there. So, you know, his worst game, he's still going to get catches. His yards haven't been as good the last couple games. So just kind of a bounce back type of game for Robbie Anderson there. My boy Deontay's sitting there at 6,200. I know his worst game of the year, besides when he got hurt, that was against Baltimore. And, you know, I don't see that necessarily happening again. That the volume is there. Big Ben's throwing the ball a ton, and he works all over the field. It's not just a deep target or, you know, this or that. So he should be involved a lot more than he was the last time they played. And as you saw, he put on a clinic last week, but so did his counterpart, Chase Claypool. Looks like Juju's fully healthy this week. So you have, you know, those three all in the same price range, 59, 61, and 62 to kind of choose from. But my favorite is Deontay just because of the volume.
Yeah.
Then you get down low, it's kind of, you know, you got Beasley, who either has huge games or doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's a good GPP play.
Yeah, he really is. You got Crowder, who was a game buster early in the year and kind of fizzled a little bit the past couple weeks. Jacoby Myers, who we were all on last week. Now it's like, okay, what happened to him? Because Bird got all the targets against the Texans. You know, so there's not a ton of just guys down there I love this week. You know, obviously Tyler Boyd is, I mean, you look at 5,000. Oh, wow. Wait. Burrow's gone, and we saw what happened when he left. So, yeah, I think that the pickings are slim down towards the bottom, and, you know, it kind of makes you want to go play those top end guys, especially when you know kind of what you're going to get out of them.
Chris, are you going to use Keenan with Herbert?
I mean, how do you not use the best of the best, right?
What do you think about John Brown? I think he's 4,800, and
isn't he hurt? Is he going
he
to
got hurt during the game and still finished.
Okay.
And they had their bye week last week.
I mean, I like it. I like Keenan Allen. I'm all on the Chiefs, like I said. And the person I want to run it back with is I think the Chiefs funnel the slot receivers. And Antonio Brown has had 8 targets 2 weeks ago. He's had 13 targets last week. He's showing flashes. I think he lives with Tom Brady. Tom Brady wanted him on the team. That's why he's on the team. And so I love the running back option at 5,700, Antonio Brown. I like Keenan Allen. I mean, I love Keenan Allen, actually. But if I'm going to play someone around like that 8K, if I just have to choose one, I'm going to choose Tyreek Hill because that's who I want to target. I think that's going to be a really high-scoring game, and I think it's going to be a blast of a game to watch. You're Michael Thomas, though. You say Michael Thomas has got me really intrigued with him dominating the target share from last week.
He completely took everything Kamara normally would have gotten, went to Michael Thomas. And Taysom Hill, unlike Drew Brees, wasn't doing just line of scrimmage checkdowns. He was taking shots downfield. So he really could, like a Taysom Michael Thomas little 2-man play right there is going to be super low owned because Denver's defense has been decent of late. And you basically get an RB1 throwing to a wide receiver 1 too.
Yeah. Yeah, my initial look at this whole slate is do the Chiefs, and my receivers are going to be Hill, Michael Thomas, and Antonio Brown, and fit in the cheaper running backs that we liked. So that's initially it. Any last thoughts on wide receivers before we skedaddle on?
I don't know if I should say this or I might get stoned in the street, but AJ Green at 3,600. I
They
mean,
got to throw to somebody, right?
he got 9 targets last week. T. Higgins is what, 4,700?
I
Surprised
know.
I'm surprised you haven't brought up Juju yet after last week.
That pissed me off. Birthday week, I go all in on him, and everyone else scores.
Yeah,
But can Ryan Finley throw these dudes the
So they're not going to start Ryan Finley. They're going to start Brandon Allen. So
and he cannot do that.
obviously Ryan Finley sucks. I don't really know much about Brandon Allen. I just remember him playing at Arkansas and being above average for the SEC, but I don't know if that's going to translate to the NFL. But I mean, we think that the Giants are going to beat up on him with the bad offensive line, so he's going to have to throw, which all 3 of these receivers are cheap. It's going to be a crapshoot on which one's correct to pick because one of them is going to have a decent game. And that could be a spot that separates you and allows you to use, a Dalvin Cook and then, a Tyreek Hill if you use one of these cheap receivers here.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. They lost Burrow. Looks like Gio ran into a wall, so he wouldn't have to play this week. And, I mean, they're going to throw the ball 50 times, you would think. Probably obviously not that much because it depending on the score, but they're going to throw it 30 plus times. And so you have those 3 guys out there who are going to get 90% of those passes probably.
I think T. Higgins probably is the best play because he has the biggest upside for downfield shots.
Yeah. Just chunk it up and let him go get it type of deal. But yeah, I mean, especially for the price, I mean, they're going to
just $6K.
That, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's intriguing, but it's scary. I mean, obviously you don't want to do that in cash format, but GPP, I think it's very viable. All right, Chris, moving on to your favorite.
Yeah, the dreaded tight end, right? But luckily we haven't had Travis Kelce on the main slate lately. He's back on the main slate, and I'm going back to Travis Kelce. He is a target machine. He is, let's see here. He had 12 targets, and 10 targets. And he's actually catching them. And he's had over 100 yards in the last 3 games. So it's not one of those Waller where he gets 12 targets, 5 catches for 10 yards. Travis Kelce is going to have a monster game. And I'm either going to go Travis Kelce or my asses are going to go down somewhere cheap, waiting for the price play at the cheap tight end of the week. Irv Smith has been hobbled and hurt. He's 3,100, but I'm not going to go there because how injured he is. So Price, feed us up a gem down low.
Bro, I like the guys up top.
The guys like more than one.
I'm just drawn to Kelce and Waller. It's hard to not look at them. I really would like to play Jordan Reed if he's actually going to play. Because, I mean, I think the last time out he only had, I know it was 2 weeks, I guess, before that where he didn't do anything. He ran 22 routes their last game, and now he's off a bye. So it's hard to find a cheap tight end, man. You look down here, it's
tough.
You got Trey Burton.
Scrolling.
Trey Burton got a touchdown last week.
I know, but they're in a 3 tight end committee. That's kind of rough, man.
What about your boy Herndon?
No,
he scored.
He did.
I'd rather play Ebron. I know it's not a good matchup, but he's been so solid.
I think Evan Ingram. He's not super cheap. He's 4,500, but he's someone interesting to go to. But honestly, like it's Travis Kelce. It's a Travis Kelce show. He's been the only really good tight end this year.
Does DK know something we don't? Because Kelce has 4x, I think, the past 3 weeks, and he just dropped in price.
Yes, Tampa Bay is actually fairly decent against tight ends.
Yeah, but it's Kelce. I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's kind of matchup proof.
Waller's matchup with Atlanta is enticing.
I say that, I go look, and Kelsey apparently just absolutely fucking dominates Devin White in the matchup.
It's kind of good.
But Devin White's so good. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. And I've always said it. A good offense beats a good defense. So if you have the best tight end, obviously Kittle is a better blocker, whatever. Best offensive tight end in Kelsey, it doesn't really matter. The dude's just a beast week in and week out when needed.
Yeah. As the week goes on, we're going to have to go really deep into trying to find someone cheap for some of our MME entries that we want to do. But as you kind of hear up top, the Waller Kelsey is something to be had. If you do want to do Daniel Jones, I have no problem with going with Evan Ingram at all, going against the Bengals defense as well, and he's really well priced at 4,500. So it's not super cheap, but it's still, it's still some savings off of 7K. Kelsey. Shall we move on to the defense?
To the defense.
Good. I'll go first. Browns.
This isn't last week, bro.
I know they're playing a worse team this week. Jacksonville. No, all kidding aside, you got Giants and the Browns with two tremendous matchups just because of the quarterbacks they're going against and the overall teams. Obviously Jacksonville has a better run game. But Cincinnati's just, they're banged up. They're on their practice squad quarterback who apparently is better than their backup, which I never understand that, right? It's like you have a backup who obviously is better than the guy that's on the practice squad, or so you think. He plays for half a game and then you switch who's better. So anyway, they don't know who's better. They just know the guy that played last game was terrible. So the Browns are really good at rushing the passer. And the Giants are pretty good at rushing the passer and the Browns. So look for a lot of turnover ridden games there. And then for my cheap play, who hopefully you went, remember I got made fun of last week. I got made fun of on this show because I said the Jets, Jets, and they came to play. They had a safety, block punt. Keenan fumbled it on the 2, or he would have had an even bigger day. So they paid off big time at 2,100, and I'm going to go back to them. They're still 2,100. They're playing Miami, who if Tua's in charge there, they just aren't as explosive with Fitzmagic. Chris will probably get mad at me later for saying that. But, Miami just hasn't been moving the ball. You got, the running back are hurt. I know Ahmad was a little banged up. You got Gaskin who might be back. So, I think they're in a good spot. They want to win a game for Frank Gore. You didn't read his quote. He said he ain't going out a loser. So they're going to win one of these games. And I just think it's kind of a trap game for Miami. It's a divisional game. So I like them. 2,100, low play of the week.
What about the Broncos at 2,200? Yeah, a few weeks ago they were terrible, but they played the Chargers, the Falcons, and the Raiders. And then last week they played Miami, had 6 sacks, gave you 12 fantasy points at 2,200. That's another cheap play. And they're playing New Orleans with Taysom Hill. He's not like this amazing all-star quarterback.
Say okay.
Say that to your cash lineup, dude, bro.
And here's the thing, though, about Taysom is he's not going to sit back there and throw 40 passes like Drew Brees would. He's also athletic and runs the ball. So, he might
probably not going to get sacked, right? Yeah.
But not as many. And they're going to run the ball more. So, I like Denver overall, but I just think Taysom's kind of a tough quarterback, especially with some of the weapons they have to really get the sacks and the turnovers. But that's just me.
What about your price?
I think I'm gonna lock in the Jets and just go. It's 2,100. I mean, they're playing Miami, who's shit. Tua is apparently bad enough to get benched because their security's gonna get hurt because they give up so many sacks. If it's Fitzmagic, he turns the ball over. What's the point of paying up? If we like all these expensive skill position players, you got to go cheap somewhere. And this is the spot to do it because all they got to do is get us 4 points.
Yeah, when they played Miami in week 6, they had 6 points, so they hit their target of what you're wanting of the 4. They were priced a little higher at that point, but I don't mind the play. 2,100 Jets.
I think it's that or the Browns for sure. Especially if Myles Garrett plays. If Myles Garrett's back, I'll go 50-50 Jets and Browns, but he's just such
3,100 is not that bad either of a price.
No, not for a team that is going to get after the quarterback.
Cool.
I mean, they had 5 sacks against Philly.
I mean, that's because Carson Wentz is a moron and just holds on to the ball to get sacked.
Well, I understand that, but let's go back to week 7 when they played Cincinnati. They had 4.
Yeah, they're top 5 team in the league in sacks. But that'd probably be it. I don't really want to pay up.
So would you rather have Deontay Johnson and the Browns defense or Michael Thomas and the Jets defense?
Michael Thomas and the Jets. I'll take the 50% target share.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not the exact math, but it's something like that.
But even I just feel Michael Thomas is so good. Like he's going to continue. He's going to keep playing that well. I think, no matter who the quarterback is.
All right. What about Calvin Ridley and not Michael Thomas? So the direct math would be a Calvin Ridley and Jets defense versus a Deontay Johnson.
100% Calvin Ridley and Jets defense.
Well, I mean, it looks like you're going Jets defense. I can't even think of a time that you're going to want to play the Browns defense.
I'd play him if it's like Deontay or someone similarly. I told you I'm all in on the fucking Falcons and Calvin Ridley and Julio. And if Julio's out, oh my God, lock and load Calvin Ridley this week.
Lock and load the Jets defense. Let's go make some money.
Who's the zucchini?
We're gonna end this on a zucchini note.
Jeez. Remember, he always.
Yeah, I remember 0, 0, 0, 0. Then I get it. All right, send us off, Dustin Reed.
Bang bang.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.